Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I wanted to talk about the headlines that we keep seeing with regard to the crosshairs being placed on the VHA, the Veterans Healthcare Administration. Now, look, we have President-elect Trump in office. He has been in office before, and we know what he has done for veterans when he was in last time. So here we are now, but the flavor is really different. There's all kinds of headlines out there that are putting the VA in the crosshairs. Now, I have yet to see actual quotations from anybody involved saying we are looking at the VA to eliminate it in any capacity. Now, I think that we can read between the lines some and understand that there's going to be some, I guess, magnifying glass put on all government agencies, but I'm focused on VA stuff. And I just wanted to read through this article. This one's actually on military.com. And let's see what we can find out here. Now, before I jump in, I do want to throw out a very special thank you to T-Sim. T-Sim, thank you so extremely very much. If that even makes sense. I really do appreciate your support with that super comment, super chat. Very, very, very generous. Thank you so much. Basically, in your comment, you put out that you have also helped Clay out as well, and I'm sure he appreciates that too for all the efforts, and we really do appreciate your support. Thank you, T-Sim. I also wanted to throw out another one for Robert Betancourt 1386. Robert, again, thank you so very much for your super chat. The chat here was thanks. Go electric for your daily driver. Sea Transport evolved news. This locks down transportation costs with home charging. With that, thank you again so much, Robert Betancourt 1386. Truly, I appreciate your support. Same with you, T-Sim. Thank you so very much. All right, let's jump into this. So the headline here is Musk Ramaswamy proposal to slash spending could include VA medical services. Now, this is on military.com, and I wanted to read through it because, again, I personally have not seen anything where DOGE, Musk, Ramaswamy, and company have specifically called out VA medical services or the VHA, the Veterans Healthcare Administration. I haven't really seen it really called out directly with anything massive happening. So let's jump into it. We'll see what we can find out in this article and see where we're going. My big thing here for everybody is, look, if you have any concerns at all with regard to your benefits, reach out to your congressional member. Let them know that you want to make sure that we stay whole, or whatever your concern is. Go ahead and make sure you air that. Don't sit on it, right? Share that information. All right, so let's jump into it here. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel in other ways, consider being a member. I really do appreciate all you members. And let's go. So it says here, a plan by the incoming Trump administration to slash government funding could kneecap Department of Veterans Affairs healthcare. And in an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal this week, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who President-elect Donald Trump tapped to lead the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, which is DOGE, which is funny because it's the meme coin, right? Dogecoin, for those that don't know, cryptocurrency. So confirmed that they plan to target unauthorized federal spending, a category that includes the VA's medical services. Now, I don't know what they're going to say in this article. We're going through it together. But I'm going to throw out there right now that the unauthorized portion of the VHA is essentially the entire VHA. I'm pretty confident, just saying, that they're not going to come in and go, we're going to eliminate the VHA and you got to sell all the buildings and all of the assets, equipment. It just seems super highly improbable. All right, so let's move on. DOGE will help end federal overspending by taking aim at the $500 billion plus in annual federal expenditures that are unauthorized, okay? Unauthorized by Congress or being used in ways that Congress never intended. They wrote specifically citing funding for the nonprofit grants and PBS. So let me ask you this. So far, the only quotations were that they were going to be targeting, taking aim at the $5 billion plus in annual federal expenditures that are unauthorized. Okay, so right there, we know that there's currently unauthorized programs and expenditures out there that equate to over $500 billion. Great. Now, the next part of that is they're going to be looking at those and also ones that are being used in ways that Congress never intended. Okay, so do you think Congress intended for VHA to serve veterans in a healthcare capacity throughout the nation? Yes. So that part's off the table. Then we go back to the unauthorized portion. And yes, for whatever reason, however the legislative kind of process works, the VHA's budget has essentially been unauthorized but still funded over the years. So my question here is, wouldn't it just take Congress to put together some sort of legislative package that makes it authorized for the next year or two, and then just kind of do that every year or two, and then it's not unauthorized anymore? I'm just saying. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. And then it's not in either one of those categories. Then it's not on DOGE's watch list, right? Because remember, DOGE is looking at unauthorized expenditures, so make it authorized, Congress. And they're looking for things that are being utilized in ways that Congress never intended. Well, we're not in that bucket. So that's my 2 cents on that specifically. Let's dive further into this article and see what military.com has to say instead of saying that the VHA is in the crosshairs. All right. The pair, and they're referencing Musk and Ramaswamy, the pair did not specifically call out VA. Of course they didn't, because there's nowhere that it's saying that, and that's what's so frustrating. The pair did not specifically call out the VA, but the type of spending they're taking issue with includes about $120 billion for the VA's medical services, according to a report issued earlier this year from the Congressional Budget Office. Again, that is pretty much the entire $120 billion is the entire VHA, Veterans Healthcare Administration budget. So, just saying. All right, moving on. Historically, in order for a federal agency to operate, Congress passes 2 different types of legislation: an authorization bill to authorize funding and appropriations bills to actually allocate the funding. Okay, so an authorization bill to authorize funding and an appropriations bill to actually allocate the funding. All right. For example, for the Pentagon, Congress passes the National Defense Authorization Act and a Pentagon Appropriations Bill every year. But for most federal agencies, Congress hasn't bothered with the authorization bills in years, instead streamlining its work by considering the appropriations bill to be self-authorizing. Okay, I kind of get it. Like, it's a shortcut. It's about getting the money over there. So if we approve the money, essentially we've approved the program, right? But it's not technically, because the original legislation has expired, right? So a 2023 report from the Congressional Research Service notes the distinction between authorization and appropriations bills. It is based on chamber rules rather than constitutional or general statutory requirement. For VA medical services, the last authorization bill was 1996's Veterans Healthcare Eligibility Reform Act, according to the Congressional Budget Office report. The op-ed from Musk and Ramaswamy about their plans for DOGE, which is the same name, they put that in here, same name as a cryptocurrency Musk has previously touted, confirmed they will pursue an idea Ramaswamy first floated on social media last week. And here's a quotation. We can and should save hundreds of billions each year by defunding government programs that Congress no longer authorizes. Okay, remember, Congress does an appropriations bill to fund the program with the idea that they're actually authorizing it through the fact of giving money. So, in a sense, Congress is. However, they need to do the appropriate legislative bill to actually authorize it. So it's basically putting Congress on notice. Hey, put a bow around the things that you really want to keep. All right. So this is what they wrote on X, previously known as Twitter. So that's Musk and Ramaswamy, will challenge any politician who disagrees to defend the other side. In other words, if it's something really important, hey, look, I know that we haven't really authorized VHA, Veterans Healthcare Administration's funding, their entire budget, but we've been funding it. And it's an important piece of the veterans' benefits out there. And so we're going to go ahead and continue to keep that going. Sure, sounds good to me. All right. Moving on, asked about the DOGE proposal at a hearing Wednesday, VA Undersecretary for Health Sharif Ellenhall said he would be highly concerned about any cuts to the agency and that the department's lawyers believe it has the legal authority to operate. Veterans' demand for care is actually substantially increasing, said Ellenhall, a Biden administration appointee. Despite these increases in demand, we've seen wait times go down instead of up for primary care and mental health. We've seen historic performance on quality, patient safety, veteran satisfaction, and trust. We want to make sure we maintain those outcomes while we provide accessible, high-quality care to vets. Lawmakers in both parties have already promised to protect the VA. Quotation, if Republicans in the majority follow through on Ramaswamy's wishes, it will mean that veterans would no longer be eligible for inpatient services like surgeries, acute care, and injuries that may require urgent care, and outpatient services like health appointments, immunizations, and nutrition and education. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz from Florida said, and she's the ranking member of the House Appropriations Committee, VA Subcommittee, said at a hearing before asking Ellenhall about DOGE. So I think that is not true because, again, we haven't heard directly from DOGE, Musk, or Ramaswamy that they are actually targeting VA. There's legislators on both sides of the aisle that say they'll protect VA. The fact that they're targeting unauthorized funds it's just interesting because the VA is falling into that bucket, but I do not believe that VA will be touched in that way. Now, if you want to ask me what I think will happen, I think that you're not going to see a bunch of new clinics popping up in random places. I've talked about this before, similar to BRACs, right? A BRAC, a base realignment and closure. The VA has an error, which is it's AIR, which is Assets Infrastructure Review. Veterans are moving all over the place. And in fact, it's much more difficult to manage that structure around where veterans are moving versus the military, because the military tells you where to go. So you're going to go to that base, you're going to go to this base. Well, the VA building a bunch of structures, medical centers, clinics, and so forth, are always at risk because what if veterans in that area decide to leave? Well, now they're not going to that medical center or clinic any longer. What are you going to do? As the demand starts to decrease, now You can also align BRACs up with that. If you have a closure of a base in an area, you're going to have less veterans populating that area over time because nobody's getting out there. Sometimes veterans stay at their last duty station area. So there's a lot to take into consideration here. I think that what we're going to see is less building new facilities and more utilization of either joint facilities with the public, shared space type of stuff, and utilization of more community care in smaller populated areas of veterans to help bridge that gap, I think. So let's move on. Later in the hearing, Subcommittee Chairman John Carter assured that he is not going to be standing by for anybody trying to abolish anything to do with our Veterans Administration. Proposing to cut unauthorized appropriations is an amateur's comet, he added. We all are here to support the veterans of our country, and there's no one on this committee that is trying to do anything. Remember, this is the Appropriations Committee. And there's no one on this committee that is trying to do anything to wipe out our veterans or the care, or the veteran care. And we will be soldiers in the field fighting on your behalf if something like that comes along, Carter said. But in their op-ed, Musk and Ramaswamy also said they plan to circumvent Congress, while a 1974 law called the Impoundment Control Act generally requires a president to spend money that Congress appropriates. The pair noted Trump opposes that law. Trump ignoring that law was part of his first impeachment over withholding congressional approved aid to Ukraine. Quotation here, Mr. Trump has previously suggested this statute is unconstitutional, they wrote, and we believe the Supreme Court would likely side with him on this question. All right, so that is the whole thing. And look, the Appropriations Committee is saying that they're not going to let anything happen. Sure, there is some sort of a weird outside thing, but I, again, don't believe that the VA is going to get gutted and we're going to be left on the streets with our wounds. I don't believe that. Personally, I think that what we will see is maybe, like I said, less brick and mortar new buildings being built, more shared agreements with the public sector with regard to medical facilities, especially in more remote areas where we don't have a robust veteran population. We'll see probably more community care, and that's the type of stuff that I'm thinking we're going to see. So with that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.